This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and we're going to talk about riots and protests. Of course, right now, big thing going on is there's countless protests against the Trump election, and there's also riots breaking out. Now, of course, everybody's trying to frame things as if this never happened before and that this is just liberals going nuts. I've always found it how we have selective memory, and I'm going to post this article in the description, and if I can find a few more from major news sites that covered it during the post-2008 election. There were riots and there were protests against Obama's election. I'm sure if I go as far back as 2000, there were probably riots and protests against Bush's election. If I go back further to 1992, you probably could find the same thing for Clinton. There's always been some level of protests. 2008, it got to a weird place because it wasn't necessarily a protest against policy, but it was a racial thing. There were racial hate crimes that were committed. Threats were thrown. You know, the usual kill the nigger stuff. I distinctly remember someone actually starting a poll on what day President Obama would be assassinated. Those are things that resonated with me, and I still remember. Of course, none of us remember that. It's all fake. It's just made up. It never happened. But now it's happening, and why is this happening? We didn't do it back then. I really wish that we didn't have selective memory. We do this all the time. It's just like back when I was saying about Bill Clinton, about how he was not the perfect president. We just had this whole image of him being such a great president, but he wasn't a perfect president. I will say the same about Barack Obama. He was not a perfect president. He did a lot of good things, in my opinion, but there were some policies that I totally didn't agree with, and some actions that I think he should have been more stronger towards. But that's just me being rational and me being honest. Most of us, I guess, don't want to be completely rational and honest and give fair assessments. It's better to just, gloss over things. It's just, I guess it's a part of the way history has always been viewed. People tend to focus in on the great things and dismiss things that may be questionable, instead of just looking at all of it as a whole and giving an overall opinion. And this is what's going to happen with this. Years from now, people are going to look back at this and it's going to be like, well, it never happened, or it's going to be even heightened more. Either way, truth of the matter is, it's happening, and it's not the first, it's not the last. Is it right? Protesting is always right, in my opinion. Especially if you have a legitimate cause. I mean, mind you, do I agree with the Obama protests? No, because you're protesting against the idea of a minority leading a nation. Now, if you're protesting against liberalism, fine. That's your right. That to me, again, it may not be something that I agree on, but it's valid. But when the protests got to the racial thing, it's like, well, why are we protesting race? This should have nothing to do with like anything. So yeah. Now the protesters with Trump, well, most of them people are scared. They fear the comments that he made. And as I've said in previous videos,
whether he believes it or not. He said them, and they've sparked fear on one side, and it's enacted and emboldened some people to act on those things and start to harass and heckle and start hate crimes to pop up. So one, if you really have a problem with people who are protesting against the idea of hate being spread and don't want hate crimes, don't want the whole anti-Muslim Muslim movement thing, I have to question you as a human, because as a human, you shouldn't want to see another human being treated a certain way because of their race, religion, or sexual orientation. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. What they're doing with their lives should not affect you that much to where you want to see them hurt. Sure, there are people who happen to be a certain religion, like ISIS. They just happen to be Muslim extremists. That doesn't mean that the whole of Islam is like that, and that we should go after everybody who's Islamic. Rational thought, people. Let us, be rational. I mean, that's where I find like the backlash against some of the protests to be irrational. It's like, well, it never happened. Yes, it did. Stop being pretty much, you're being really blind on you're not blind being blind. No. You're pretending to be blind to that fact. Now the riots, I've never been one for rioting. Rioting to me accomplishes nothing. All it does is justify people into having a negative opinion. And there have been people who said, like, well, the more you riot, the more you make Trump supporters seem right. And you know what? That's a very fair assessment. Because riot, I understand why people riot, the anger, the emotion. But it does no good because it causes more problems. So I've never been a fan of rioting. Rioting, you will never see me say, yeah, you're right to riot. I can understand reasons behind people rioting, but it hurts my heart to see people want to tear up the world and destroy things and to hurt other people out of their anger. Yeah, I'd rather see you with the picket signs, standing, your chants, whatever, your speeches, your rallies. That's proper. That's proper show of protest and disdain for something that you don't feel is right. That's cool. But rioting, no, it just brings like too much problems and it just makes situations worse. So, please, people, don't be out there rioting. It's not cool. Protesting, yeah. Rioting, no. Not what we want. But yeah, I just really find it funny how now everybody's just acting like it's never been done before, and I really would love for somebody to explain to me how they could have that type of view and how they could be so dismissive to history. I don't know. I guess I've never been willing to stick my head in the ground like that in order to have my way of thinking carry on without any type of challenge. I just don't know, people. Just don't know. This is going to be a rough time. There's going to be some interesting videos coming, but I just want to spark a discussion, have a really honest, open, clear, adult, mature discussion about these things, because we need to get it together. We seriously need to get some act right in us and stop pretending. It's just maddening. It's maddening. It's frustrating for someone like me to live in this world, because I don't want to see anybody hurt. I think everybody should be treated just equally. That's the naivety in me, I guess. Like, whatever. But anyway, as always, you guys hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Megas, and I'm out. Deuces.